In Amsterdam had je in de jaren 80 de Bhagwanbeweging. Mensen in oranje kleding die elkaar vonden in de spirituele visie van de Indiase goeroe Bhagwan Sri Ranish, later Osho genoemd. In 1990 overleed hij en het aantal aanhangers dunde in de loop der jaren flink uit. Maar tot op de dag van vandaag leeft zijn gedachtegoed voort bij aanhangers van het eerste uur.
Ja, wie ben ik? Mijn sannyasi-naam is Deva Arvind. En Deva staat voor goddelijk en Arvind staat voor lotus. Dus goddelijke lotus. Zelf vind ik ook wel dat ik uit de modder herrezen ben. Ik heb gewoon 2/3 van mijn leven heb ik drugs en alcohol en allerlei andere middelen gebruikt waar ik aan verslaafd was. Toen ik 10 jaar geleden ben ik clean geworden. En 2 jaar later ben ik op een soort spirituele zoektocht gegaan. En dat is ook onderdeel van het herstelprogramma waar ik aan werkte. En ik ben uiteindelijk bij Osho terechtgekomen. En goed, het is niet zozeer dat ik die als mijn hogere macht of zo zie, of als God of iets anders. Maar meer iemand die mij gewoon de weg heeft gewezen en nog steeds wel de weg wijst in het leven. Op zoek naar zelfontwikkeling en zelfontplooiing eigenlijk.
Nog heel even over dan je vorige leven. Hoe heette je toen?
Peter. Ja.
Voor het woord extase vallen bij de meditatie. En,
Ja.
Nou ja, ook andere mensen die ook drugs hebben gebruikt zeggen, ja, dit is 10 keer beter dan drugs. Je voelt je heel energiek, alles is mooier.
Ja.
Kan je me er iets van vertellen?
Nou goed, Osho en alles wat daarbij hoort, dat gaat natuurlijk als rode draad ook, of als beginpunt zeg maar, waar je aan kan werken. Om die extase en dat soort dingen te bereiken, is door te mediteren. En goed, ik heb het zelf ook ondervonden dat door meditatie, en bij mij een gebed erbij zeg maar, kom je in een andere bewustzijn, staat van bewustzijn. En goed, ik heb ook al meegemaakt dat ik overspoeld werd door dankbaarheid of door iets, weet je, wat eigenlijk niet te benoemen valt. Maar wat inderdaad vele malen mooier en fijner aanvoelt als drugs nemen.
Dit gun je eigenlijk iedereen?
Zeker, ja. Het is alleen natuurlijk dat, je moet er wat voor doen ook. Hè. Je moet er ook wel voor investeren. Een heleboel mensen die gewoon een dagelijks leven hebben en die werken en die thuiskomen, die eten liever en ploffen op de bank en doen niet zoveel meer. Gaan ook niet vroeger opstaan om te mediteren. En dus ik denk dat het daar ook wel een beetje in te zoeken valt. Een soort gemakzucht of misschien ook weet het gros van de mensen die het merendeel weet ook niet dat zoiets bestaat.
Nee. En communes wordt toch ook over het algemeen gezien als eng, sectarisch, je vrijheid opgeven. Dat is nog steeds wel natuurlijk de visie van veel mensen.
Dat denk ik ook wel, ja. Het komt natuurlijk ook niet zo heel veel meer voor, weet je. Er zijn niet heel veel communes meer.
De hippie-tijd is over.
Ja. En dit is een soort, hoe noem je het iets? Een neo-hippie movement.
Er is natuurlijk wel een nieuwe trend gaande, wat mensen die zelf weer dingen willen verbouwen, alles weer kleinschaliger. Dus er is op zich wel ruimte. Ja. En moet je het per se in de commune ervaren? Dat is dan mijn vraag ook.
Ja, nee, dat hoeft niet. Het is natuurlijk hartstikke fijn om het gelijk gestemde of met dezelfde mensen ook te wonen dan. Maar ik woon hier 1,5 jaar en daarvoor mediteerde ik en was ik ook sannyasin, zeg maar, gewoon, maar dan thuis gewoon waar ik woonde. Ja. Dus het is niet zozeer nodig dat je in een commune of zo daarvoor woont. Nee.
Maar kan je gewoon nog een burgerlijk materialistisch leven leiden en mediteren en dat voelen?
Zeker, ja hoor. Ja. Juist denk ik. Ik heb zelf ook een vrij zwaar beroep. Dus ik heb dan.
Wat doe je?
Nou goed, ik werk in de verslavingszorg nu zelf. Oh. Ja. Dus ik help nu mensen zeg maar, die hetzelfde probleem hebben. als counselor en ervaringsdeskundige. Om stoom af te blazen of, zeg maar, of een beetje uit het hoofd te komen. Hè? Want dat is een beetje het probleem. Hè? Hoe drukker in je hoofd bent, ja, goed, hoe meer kans je hebt op burn-out of stress of dat soort dingen. Ja. Mediteren zorgt ervoor dat ik uit mijn hoofd kom. In ieder geval dat mijn hoofd rustiger wordt. Ja. Dat bijdraagt aan mijn productiviteit en geluk, zeg maar.
Jouw kinderen wonen hier met jou? Of hoe zit het?
Nee, ze komen op het weekend bij me. Ja. En soms ook wel vaker, weet je, soms ook wel door de week. Ja. En het is een beetje, er zijn niet zo gek veel kinderen hier in de commune. Nee. Maar zo zijn ze een beetje de enige, eigenlijk. Oké. Ja.
En hoe zit het in de commune? Want dat is natuurlijk ook een verhaal wat natuurlijk gaat, dat je de vrije seks en alles kan, maar is dat aan de hand? Of?
Nou, hier niet. Nou, dit is gewoon niet vrije seks en ook niet waar dit. Er zijn wel mensen die af en toe eens wat met elkaar hebben. Of soms een relatie hebben. Maar ja, goed. Ik denk dat dat die verhalen wel een beetje uit de tijd waren ook. Van dat de commune veel groter waren en uit de 70, 80 jaren. Ja. Toen is het wel flink op los gerot zijn, denk ik. Ja. Ja.
Want hoe lang zit jij hier?
Ik woon hier nu 27 jaar.
En hoe bevalt dat?
Ja, ik vind het heerlijk om hier te wonen.
En hoe ben je hier terechtgekomen?
Vroeger hadden we een hele grote commune. Dat is al bijna 30 jaar geleden. En dat was toen echt een meditatiecentrum. En toen kwam ik hier al heel vaak. En later werd het deze kleine commune. En toen woonden vrienden van mij hier. Dus ik kom hier al tientallen jaren eigenlijk. Het is gewoon een levenswijze. En Osho heeft ontzettend veel verteld. Het belangrijkste is bewustzijn. Maar wat mij bij Osho heel erg aantrekt is om het leven te vieren. En het extatisch zijn. Dat had ik voor die tijd nog nooit zo meegekregen.
En die oranje kleding, liep jij ook de Kalverstraat?
Ja, dat was zo. Ja. En dat was in Amsterdam heel grappig, want iedereen riep dan van hey, Bhagwan. En was in Amsterdam waren de reacties heel anders, want mijn ouders die wonen in de Achterhoek. En de Achterhoekers zijn heel anders, die durfden dat niet zo te zeggen.
Die vonden het dan wel raar.
Die praten misschien achter je rug, dat weet ik niet hoor, maar die gingen je niet rechtstreeks confronteren. Nee. Maar in Amsterdam echt wel, dat was allemaal. En dat was leuk, dan kon je er een grapje over maken. En dat vond ik altijd wel leuk.
Maar dat is er wel vanaf, dus die oranje kleding, dat vrolijke, dat uitbundige.
Het vrolijke is er niet vanaf hoor.
Maar de straat op, zeg maar.
Nee, we zijn meer onzichtbaar geworden. Ja. Nou, eigenlijk zitten we nu meer op internet.
En de basis is dus eigenlijk die meditatie. Ja. En dan vervolgens leer je ook meer over de leer. Want er zijn 600 boeken van hem.
Ja. Nou, de leer is misschien in een paar woorden samen te vatten. Dat zijn bewustzijn. Bewustzijn is het allerbelangrijkste. Bewustzijn en liefde ook. Als je nog bij ons naar beneden op de wc gaat, dan hangen de zogenaamde 10 geboden van Osho. En het belangrijkste is om jezelf te zijn en om niet iets van buitenaf aan te nemen. Dus we kunnen niet spreken van geschriften of zo. Het belangrijkste is je eigen intuïtie en je eigen wijsheid. Dat is het belangrijkste.
En is het zo dat je woont hier, je leeft hier, dat je alleen maar mensen in je omgeving hebt die Osho zijn?
Nee, ik ken heel veel andere mensen. Ik ben eigenlijk heel veel buitenshuis. Ik werk veel, ik geef een massage op verschillende plekken. En mijn familie is helemaal geen sanyasin. En ook oude vriendinnen van vroeger, uit de studietijd, die zijn ook geen sanyasin. Daar heb ik wel heel veel contact mee nog. En ook vrienden van de lagere school. Ik zing in een koor, dat zijn ook helemaal geen sanyasis. Dus eigenlijk ontmoet ik meer niet-sanyasis dan wel sanyasis.
Sanyasis is...
Wij zijn sanyasis, dat zijn mensen die eigenlijk geïnitieerd zijn door Osho. Dat je zegt van ik ben... Je vogeling vind ik ook een rot woord, maar gewoon een vriend of een, weet ik veel, geliefde of zo.
Prabhupada.
That's your sanyasin name?
No, that's my name. The other name is my legal name.
So what's your legal name?
Charles.
But everybody calls you Prabhupada?
Yeah, it's my sannyas name, yeah.
And what does it stand for?
It means someone who's awake. Yeah, so my name is Dhyan Prabhupada, someone who's meditates like Buddha. Like the night I took sannyas is just such a beautiful night in my life, but I didn't like the name.
No?
Because I just knew, the moment I saw it, I knew like, oh, this is a tough name.
Why is it tough?
Some people are called like Shanti or Deva or Tara or... Yeah, Prabhupada is like, it's very removed from names that people use in the West. You know, as soon as I saw it on the paper, I was like, oh,
you have to
this is
get
going
an
to be tough.
explanation. Yeah, because you want to tell the name if you're introducing yourself.
Yeah, that's the process, that's the device of the name. Is it like forces me to say, yeah, what, you know, well, I introduce my name, but then the question always comes, your parents hippies, you know, where did you get that name? And then, you know, I'm forced to look at myself, to feel and to be true to to why and how and what I'm doing with my life. And it's very challenging.
So, but the name, how do they get to the name? I mean, is it like random? Or is it?
Yeah, the name. I was like, you know, I said like, I said to the guy who was my medium, I said like, how do you come up with a name? And he said, it's just I just have a feeling and I write it down. It's just okay. You know, he just did a gesture. I thought it was all a bit spooky, but all a bit weird. All right, go with it. And then I got the name, but then, you know, I didn't think too much about it. But then, as I continued to meditate, you know, they called me Dhyan Prabhupada, so like the guys on the path of meditation. Dhyan means someone who's on meditation, as opposed to Prem, who's on love journey, or Deva, who's on divinity, or Anand, who's on bliss. These are kind of the surname, the first part of the name. Then like the next year when I was there, I asked another couple of people that I'd really connected to, what's your name? And they were like, oh, we're Dhyan. I was like, that's a bit weird. That's a bit weird that I've made friends with 3 other people that have got the same surname as me. And then I started to think a bit more, what is with the name? And then I first heard Osho's series on Buddha, and that really moved me inside. And then I thought, do you know what, that name is actually for me. Yeah. But you know, it's nothing serious. You know, I've heard Osho talk about the names, and you know, he's very unserious about it.
And you do every morning the meditation?
Yeah, every morning.
7 days a week?
Yeah. Dynamic is a technique to really shed the conditioning, to throw out the madness. It's definitely cleaned me out, and it continues to clean me out. And the evening meditation is like the sister technique, it works in harmony with the dynamic. It's a bit more feminine. It's a dancing, it's a softer thing. So the dynamic really lifts the energy in the morning, and the kundalini in the afternoon is a bit softer. It kind of brings everything down. Okay, so this is Osho's dynamic meditation. It lasts 1 hour. It's accompanied by music. When the music changes, this gives you the signal you should change your action. There are 5 stages. The first stage is chaotic breathing. Like, if you think your breathing changes with your mood. So if you're feeling turned on, sexually aroused, you have a certain breathing pattern. If you're angry, you have a different breathing pattern. If you're very relaxed, you have a different breathing pattern. This uses that process, but in reverse. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to make our breathing as deep, as fast, and as unrhythmical, as chaotic as possible. And this will then break the patterns inside our mind and allow us to enter the rest of the meditation. So standing nice and relaxed, keep your body relaxed, focus on the exhalation out of your nose and try to breathe with full intensity. you do this with intensity, the second phase is easy to jump into. The second phase is catharsis. This is a time when we release and express anything that is suppressed inside us. So whatever you feel, whatever's happening inside you, throw it out. If you're feeling happy, sad, you can laugh, you can cry, you can jump, you can scream, you can shout. In this space, you can express whatever's going on inside you. If you don't feel anything's moving, then you can act. Yeah? Just do something. And then in time, the things will start to move by themselves and the process will start to happen by itself. So I'm going to do a few breaths and then I'm going to jump in and see if I can express something. So, don't hold anything back. Just throw it out. So the third stage is the mantra who. Lift your arms above your head and jump and allow your heels to land on the ground. We have, in our bodies we have like all of our, and this hammers the sex centre. Yeah. So by saying the mantra who, you release energy from the sex centre. So the shock from your heels hitting the ground and your arms being above your head mean that from both sides your sex centre is being hammered and the energy will be released and start rising up your body. Then do this to complete totality. Don't hold anything back. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Beyond what you think is possible, because there's more. Just keep on pushing. Who. And then at some point, it's going to say stop. You stop, you freeze. Stop means stop, you stop everything. And then watch. And it's this point where the meditation really happens. It's the contrast between the complete effort, the energy, the cyclone of energy being created from the who, and then stop. And then you just be a witness. Be alert to whatever's going on inside you and outside of you. But don't react. Your arms might start hurting, but they're not going to fall off. Just keep watching. Be alert and aware of what's going on inside and without you. And then some music will come back in. 4 stages of silence, some music will come back in, and then you celebrate. It's important at the end of the meditation that you celebrate, you share with yourself and everything around you the experience that you've just had.
So how long ago was that you went to India and went to...
That was summer of 2011, so 7 years ago.
Why was it that you wanted to get into Osho?
Well, I started to meditate. I reached this point in my life where I wouldn't necessarily say I was like down. It was more like a sense of like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yes, it is.
I'd had a modicum of success professionally. I'd had a few, up and down relationships. I'd kind of had a modicum of achievement in various different areas, and I felt like that none of them were going to satisfy me or fulfill me. No. And I was suffering. I was like I didn't particularly like who I was. Somehow there was this real fire inside, like, right, now is the moment that I'm going to start to meditate. I was so sure that I was going to do that, and so I managed the whole hour. And afterwards, I was like, fuck, I feel a bit better.
Yeah?
Yeah, fuck. And somehow there's a bit more air in my lungs. Somehow I looked around and, there wasn't that haze over everything, you know. Somehow it was like, felt a bit fresher. Okay, this is cool.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do another hour.
Really? After
And it went on, you know. So over the next 3 weeks, I started to do it more and more. Yeah? And then it got to the point where I was like, every minute I wasn't working, I was trying to meditate. And then at one moment, and I remember this moment like as clear as day, and it is the moment that is the center of, you know, is the point where everything moved. I said to myself, I don't know what I'm doing here. And that was the first time in my life, like at that point I was 24, 23. That was the first point in my life I'd acknowledged to myself that I don't have all the answers. And somehow I just opened, and it really did feel like that in the moment. Like I was like, I need some help. Someone help me. Something help me. I need to find a teacher. And then in 1 week, I had it 3 times. I thought, right, as soon as I get home, I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna find out who this Osho is. And I was almost for the rest of the time, like excited, right, I can't wait to get home because I need to, oh, it's so beautiful to kind of share, because I just start to remember like what I felt like. So I came home and I got on the computer, and there were all these different videos of Osho, but they had a picture with it. It was a video, and I couldn't look at him. I was like, who's this fucking weird-looking guy?
Okay.
And then there was one without a picture, just an audio, and it said sex, love, and prayer. And I was, you know, sex was the thing, something I was definitely struggling with. I was aware that I had struggled with sex, and I put it on, and he started to talk, and it was just like, there was something about hearing him talk, and somehow I could feel, it was like I was there. It was like I had this image, because it was a bit of a crack, you know, it was a bit of a old recording. I could hear it was old. I knew it was the 70s, and somehow I could just picture him, you know. Somehow I just had this very clear image in my head of him sitting there. It was like weird to listen to an audio, but it was very much a person. And I had this picture of like that he was talking to people, and then all of a sudden he started to talk about, you know, what sex energy is, what low, you know, the lowest rung of the ladder, you know, what it is to feel like you need to constantly release your sexual energy, you know, it's the building up of tension and the release of tension. It's something I was, you know, really struggling with, you know, just wanting to, you know, it was never enough. No matter how many people I fucked, it was never enough, you know. And or however much sex I had, you know, it was never enough. And then as he started to talk, I was like, how is this guy talking about exactly what is going on inside me? And at first I thought, like, from all of the videos on there, how did I pick the one that was about me? But then as I listened further,
Everything was about you.
it was all about me. And he started to put words to the things that I didn't understand, that were hurting so much inside. And that as his words reached me, it was like, ah. And then he said, it's okay that you're not okay.
Okay.
No one had ever said that to me before. No one had ever said, it's all right that you're fucked up, man. It's not on you, you know. It's come from your parents. It's come from the teachers, from the world we live in. You know, it's not on you. It's okay that you feel the way you feel. And I was like, you know, fuck. This is Yeah. So I ordered his book, Meditation, First and Last Freedom. Just read the instructions, just started doing this thing, you know. Just read the instructions, okay, right, got it. And then go, pitch black, lights off, right, and I just did it.
Was it good?
I was like, this is like fucking meditation on acid, man. This is like meditation on steroids, you know. Was it good? It was just the contrast between, you know, how tough sitting still felt and how natural and easy felt. But it was more the sense of well-being I had was so much greater. At that time, I was very much quantifying everything. You know, I was like, if I do this amount of meditation, I will get X amount of well-being. That's the way my mind was working. So then I saw this technique as like, shit, if I just do 1 hour of this, it's the equivalent of doing 8 hours of the sitting still thing. And it feels good, it's not difficult. So I was like, cool, this is it. So then I just added that. I wasn't ready to drop the other thing yet, but then I was like, okay, once a day I'm gonna do the Kundalini.
So you had the book, you had the form of meditation for you, and then you went to India?
Yeah, so then at that time I was like saving up. I was going to move to Berlin to make it as a DJ. You know, that was like my big jump. I'd been in Austria for some years and I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Berlin.
So what did you do in Austria?
I worked as a skiing instructor and I was running events and parties and DJing. And I was like, hold on, when was that? Yeah, so I'd done a summer in Ibiza out there. And then the next step was I was going to move to Berlin. So I'd saved a load of money, and as far as all my friends were concerned, I was moving to Berlin. As far as I was concerned, this was the next phase of my life, was to go to Berlin and try to, you know, make a career in DJing. And like I was really geared up for it. Everything was ready financially, practically. I was, you know, that was what was going to happen. And then I was sure about it, and a friend of mine picked me up and we were driving along in his car. I can't remember where we'd been, but we were driving around, you know, this point on this road, a mountain road, like not so far from where I lived. It's basically the cleanest place in the world. You know, it's literally a road, no houses around, just some fields. It was sort of late springtime. And, you know, windows down, just chilling, sucking in the air. And then all of a sudden, I got this smell in my nose, the rotten stench of India. And I literally jumped out of my seat. I was like, he's like, "You all right, mate?" I was like, it wasn't like a passing thing, you know, it like really rattled me. Like, what the fuck? Because I'd been to India a few years before, so I knew the smell. Yeah. And you know, if you've been to India, there is no smell like India, and you know, everyone knows that smell, and you certainly don't find it in Austria in the mountains, let alone anywhere. That is the smell of India. And I got this smell in my nose, and then it just shocked me so much. I just went quiet. He was like, "Are you all right?" And I just sort of remember sort of giving myself a bit of space, and then it just came up from inside like, I've got to go to India. I've got to go. And I just turned to him, I said, "Mate, I'm going to India." And he just looked at me like, "What? Where did that come from? You're moving to Berlin?" You know, it was a fellow DJ friend of mine, you know, we'd played a lot together. So, you know, he was like, "What? You're going to Berlin, mate? You're not going to India?" I said, "I'm going to India." And I went home and I bought a one-way ticket. And there was this centre in Delhi, this big Osho centre in Delhi. And I was like, I'm going to ground myself there for a week. So I turned up in this meditation centre. And yeah, I was still very sure, like, I like the dynamic, I like the Kundalini, but I'm not in for anything else. I'm just going to do that. And it's all going to be on my schedule, on my terms. and I found a little bench, my bench, dusty bench underneath a tree. So I went to the dynamic in the morning, hated it, loved the Kundalini in the afternoon, and then the rest of the time I like sat on the bench doing my own thing, listening to some discourse from Osho and dancing on my own. And then I heard one day I was like just sort of trying to sit silently, and I heard some really good techno coming from the Buddha Hall. And I quite sheepishly looked around the corner, and I saw like a group of 80 people just having it. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, okay,
cool.
Tomorrow I'm going to do the whole schedule, right? So I did like one day where I just sort of surrendered to the schedule of the ashram for one day, did all the things, and at the end of the day I was like, okay, I'm going to do 1 week. For 1 week I'm going to put the mind aside, I'm not going to think about anything, I'm just going to do everything that's on offer and just have a big yes to it. And then at the end, the last night of that day was the night I took sannyas.
What's that? You took sannyas?
Yeah, that I said for 1 week I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
By the end of that week, that night, I took sannyas and became a disciple of Osho, took the mala and the new name. It was like...
This is it for you.
Yeah.
They wanted to put me in a psychiatric hospital after 2 years of talking with a psychologist. They said you cannot only be helped with taking medicine. I could only be helped in a psychiatric hospital. And just by accident I meet sannyasins and I start talking to and then this one woman said, you know, come tonight to my house, we are with a few people, and just see if you like, something like that. So I go to that house, and they did a very simple, it was just in her private house, a simple session, like there were maybe 6, 7 people, and there were all these pillows. So you could say so, because I'm abused, my mother knew that I was abused by the priest and by a family member, and my mother thought that she would go closer to God if she would support that, and this happened for years. So I had a lot of anger. I left home when I was 13, 14. So, and so she said, here is a pillow, and you just pretend you have a knife in your head and you kill your mother. And I was like, no way I'm gonna kill my mother. You know, that's very bad. But so, because everybody was doing it, so I also started to do it. So I go completely in rage, let it out. And then there was a silent sitting after that, and then a little sharing, and then it was finished, maybe 2 hours or less. Then I'm on the street and I'm bicycling. Wow, the trees look so nice and green. Life is so good. So, but that of course was the beginning, because it's, for me it took for many young people who have a kind of parent childhood life, it doesn't take that long, but for me it took quite a while. And so I know from own experience that this whole thing, it works. Yeah. Yeah. And I can say for my family, like one killed himself, one was a junkie for I don't know, 45 years, one person, you know, that's really my family. So I can say more, but I don't want to say too much. But so, you know, and I'm the only one who
got out.
I got out of the whole, yeah, and I got a normal job and
dankzij.
Yeah, 100%. Because of the meditations and
En staat de meditatie, in hoeverre staat die dan in verband met Osho?
Yeah, the Osho meditation, because what he puts in the meditation is this emotional release, and he ends with the dancing. There's always dancing, there's always celebration in it. So you go through the whole shit and you sweat. And
always, also in the morning?
Yeah.
Dancing?
Yeah, it's always dancing.
Not the morning dancer.
Yeah. So it's very round, and I did it for years. So in the beginning I thought like, I never get rid of the anger, because I thought after 1 or 2 times I will be in peace. But of course, you know, all the anger. But at the end, It can still come up, but rarely.
Every day is the meditation?
Every day, yeah, from 7 to 8, and on Sunday from 9 to 10. Yeah. And then all the other meditations from Osho you can just do at home, but this is the only meditation because it has this emotional release. It's very hard to do at home. Some people do it silently, but it's nice here you can do with really expressing whatever is in.
So what is your name?
Marco. I'm the only one with a normal name.
And why don't you have a special name?
I don't think it's necessary.
And do the other people think that as well?
I don't know. Do you guys think I should change my name?
No. If you
No, I really don't think. I think like the way your mom calls you, that's your name. Can change that.
Okay, but other people do that?
Yeah, well, they decided to change their name. I don't see the point of changing your name.
And how long do you are in the commune?
In the commune, I am since September.
So you needed a cheap place to sleep?
It's not that cheap.
No?
No.
Okay, that's not the way. That's not the reason why you're here.
No, that's not the reason I'm here. I'm here because of the girl, Amrit. That's why I'm here.
And she is into.
She is totally into this.
And you?
I'm see the benefits of it. I do meditate sometimes with her. I've done the morning meditation, especially the dynamic. Yeah. That's fun. It's fun. I see why, because you completely shake everything off. If you have any stress or if something's bothering you, you just take it out and you just deal with it immediately, or you release it. That's why they call it the release time. So whatever's bothering you here, they let you be who you are. They don't judge you if you have any kind of problem. And this is great to live in such a place. What their Osho, what he teaches them, what I understood is, be who you are. Don't follow anyone. And this is the only mistake I see them doing.
What?
Following someone.
How long have you got a relationship with her?
A year and almost a half. What's interesting is I knew Amrit before she started meditating. I know her for 12 years.
Oh.
That might be interesting. And she was different back then. She was, well, now she is very self-centered. She knows what she wants. Before she did not. Now she knows exactly what she wants. She knows what she wants to do. She doesn't have all the normal girls' problems.
How old is she?
She's 31, the same age as me.
So, but that's a good thing then.
Yeah, I met her when she was 19. So we're the same age. We went to school together. Then we haven't seen each other for 9 years. And then I met her when, like this, and I was even more attracted to her. She's really peaceful.
Okay, but she's a different person in a good way.
In a very good way. I wouldn't say completely different person, but significantly different.
Self-awareness.
Self-aware, and also Osho teaches them that all your problems come from yourself. So she's never angry at me, first of all, no matter what I do, because she knows it's because she has some she expects something from me that it's probably not who I am, so she doesn't get angry. And it's been almost a year and a half and we haven't had one single fight, which is remarkable.
Especially if you see you, I mean...
Yeah. I would recommend everyone to let their girlfriends go meditate.
Yeah.
It will help every relationship. Yeah.
Can I see your room?
The room?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's go. Amrit, we're gonna go check out the room.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, the room is a mess. But okay, no, that's okay.
See what I mean? The room is a mess and she allowed us to go see it. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You have to take off your shoes.
Okay.
Step inside. So ceiling is quite low, but you have 2 levels, which is really nice. Our bedroom is upstairs, and she has this space where she can also meditate on her own. There's a meditation room downstairs as well. This is like a living room, a desk where I make some music sometimes. Pretty simple.
Yeah. It's nice.
It is nice. It's
Quiet.
if you're not higher than 2 meters, it should be fine. Also, the location is great. Like the Pijp. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam.
So and upstairs is the bed,
the bedroom.
The bedroom, yeah.
Yeah, the bedroom is just a big mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every room is similar. Every room has 2 floors.
Yeah.
Some of them are differently arranged, but this is the general idea.
Nou, de naam die geeft eigenlijk de weg aan. Hè? Die geeft de weg aan. En mijn weg was van, toen ik hem omkeerde, vuur van liefde, dan kom je bij ijskoude haat.
Oké.
En ik ben in de Osho-beweging gekomen na 10 jaar anorexia. En dat is ijskoude haat, dat is ijskoud, dat is opgesloten in jezelf, dat is afgesloten van de wereld. En dus dat traject heb ik doorlopen. Ik had een hele goed betaalde baan in de bankwereld. En ik had succes. En materiële welvaart. Ja. Maar daar hier binnen was het gewoon pijn, was het gewoon ijskoud, ja. Dus uiteindelijk ben ik op een zoektocht gegaan en ik wist eigenlijk nog geen eens dat ik ziek was. Ik vond het gewoon, ik was gewoon een tough cookie.
Ja.
Ja. Ja, dus.
Hoe lang geleden is dit?
Dit is 20 jaar geleden. Ja.
En mensen uit die tijd, stel dat je die nu tegenkomt, wat kijkt die nu? Die is helemaal de weg kwijt?
Nee. Mensen houden gewoon van me. Zoals ik ben. En er zijn wel een heel aantal mensen zijn afgehaakt. Hè. Ik bedoel, je bent nu in een secte en er zijn wel mensen afgehaakt. Er zijn weer nieuwe mensen voor teruggekomen. Maar ik heb wel hele diepe vriendschappen die dit hele traject wel overleefd hebben. Nee, ik geloof niet dat iemand mij een mafkees vindt. Ik vind mezelf, ik ben heel blij dat ik toch wel die mafkees in mezelf gevonden heb. Want dat geeft veel meer vreugde, veel meer vrijheid, veel meer echtheid. Ik denk echt dat ik van een soort ja, hoe noem je dat? Toch wel van een robot naar een echt mens geworden ben.
En er zijn heel veel robots.
Ja, wel.
Geconditioneerd in routines.
En je best doen en goed zijn en succes hebben. Maar deze tijd is daar niet meer voor. Hè. We zitten echt in een nieuwe tijd, heb ik het gevoel. Dus.
Er is wel iets aan de hand.
Wat zei je?
Er is wel iets aan de hand. Mensen staan wel open.
Ja. Want bijvoorbeeld dit, hè, de tarotkaarten. En alle alternatieve dingen. Ik bedoel, op mijn 20ste had ik daar al heel veel interesse in. Maar toen werd ik nog zo vaak uitgelachen. Dat is echt. En nu is het populair. En mensen willen ook graag luisteren. Mensen willen ook graag groeien. Mensen willen zichzelf leren kennen. Nou, dat is echt. Ik vind dat super exciting.
And becoming a sannyasin, like you getting the name, you getting the chain. How does that work? Is that a ceremony or something?
Yeah. So I decided I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then, it's like, after the evening meditation, then they play some music, everyone just starts dancing, it's like a real party. Mm-hmm. And then there was 4 of us. Yeah, there was 4 of us, and we come to the front, sit on cushions, and then one at a time. You know, it's like your turn to come up, and then you come, and then they give you the certificate with your name on it, and put the mala over your neck, and you know, and then.
And they gave you a name.
They gave me the new name, and it's a big party, you know. But it's really the thing of like I'll go forward, and then I like sort of, you know, sort of go down, you know, say like go to the feet of Osho, you know, go down to the, you know, the thing was very much, although this guy was like, had to physically do the act inside, you know, the thing was like, there was a big image of Osho there, and I really had the feeling like I was becoming a disciple or a sannyasin of Osho.
Mm. So the time in India, how long was that?
I think I was there for like 6 weeks. After telling all my friends and family I was going for 5 years, I was like, I'd had a big conflict with this woman in the ashram, and then I like went and like sat on my own. Yeah, and then I kind of had this realization that I was like running away from some things, like with my family, and I was very, yeah, I just had the feeling like I need to go home and confront, yeah, that somehow I got this sense I was running away to meditate. Again, it was connected to this idea that I have to go somewhere else to do the meditation, that I have to like quit one thing, break one thing and start something else. And then as my meditation started to deepen, I got that insight that I was creating my own problem in a way, like there's something wrong with me, so I need to go to the other side of the world and try and fix it. I realised, oh, that's a load of shit, and then I booked another flight back home.
To the UK?
Yeah. That time in India was like the start, my first experience in India. I got fucking shit scared, came back, threw away the mala, went back, got married. So I went in exactly I got so, like, I'd gone totally one way, and then I went and came back to the West, knew that I wasn't ready to wear this in public, that then I was just going to be the meditation guy, you know, I was going to have, you know, come back with this big spiritual ego. I'd seen that I was capable of that in the ashram. I came back to the West, thought I could do it without Osho, continued with the meditation, but didn't surround myself with Osho. Never talked about him, didn't talk about the new name. And then slowly, this sort of the window closed. You know, like the window opened and I felt connected to Osho in that time, and I came back and I didn't surround myself with him. I didn't put the picture on the wall, and I was no longer open to Osho. And then I was like, yeah, again, I was found in that sense of like, oh, fuck.
What now?
I'm feeling fucked again. And then I stood on the balcony and I said, can I remember how I felt back in India? Can I remember that space? And I remember like yesterday, I closed my eyes, I stood on the balcony and I put all of my effort into trying to like be alert in the moment. I put all of my effort again, and then it was like, okay, I can still do it. I'm going back to India. So then I went to my wife and I said, I'm going to India. Yeah.
What did she say?
Okay, I can see that you're unhappy, and you know, she sent me over there. And then I was there for 5 weeks. I did one of Osho's therapy groups, Mystic Rose. And yeah, then I was ready.
For what?
Yeah, to be a sannyasin. I took a new mala, and I really allowed myself to, yeah, to really surrender to him. I dropped that bit that I can do this alone. Then I finally did, like, surrender to being a sannyasin, and then my head got blown off, and that was that was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And then when I came back, like, the whole world could have told me I was wrong, and nothing was gonna shake me from what was happening between me and Osho. I was like, me and my wife split up. I ended up renting this little room. I had a picture of Osho on the wall. I was doing the meditation all the time. You know, I was trying to be alert all the time. I was listening to him, you know, and the whole world, yeah, at one point it sort of felt like the whole world, you know, my family were like in absolute shock, like, what's going on, you know. I felt a huge weight of pressure, but not once did anything make me question what I'd experienced, you know, with him.
And then you went to Amsterdam?
Yeah, so then, you know, some time after that, I moved to Amsterdam. And I felt like my time in Austria was over. I needed to get out into the world. Yeah, at some point I decided to move over here. Started just to come in the mornings to do the meditation, and then a room became available and I moved in.